As late Fali Nariman said, that this is not a profession for the faint-hearted or the chicken-hearted. But of course, the responsibility significantly increases when you are at a senior role. Consistency has been the key. And one thing I strongly believe is that you have to be honest to yourself more than anybody else. For becoming a good arbitrator, I personally feel that there are certain attributes which are a must, which are basically integrity, independence and impartiality. You will actually enjoy the time that you are spending. Of course, one has to be mindful of fatigue and burnout, but at the same time, as long as you are enjoying what you are doing, it comes naturally and it is comparatively much easier to deal with the situation.
Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of WhyLaw powered by Veteran Results. In this episode, we are thrilled to welcome Mr. Jeevan Ballav Panda, who is a partner at the Khaitan Co. Mr. Jeevan is highly skilled in commercial litigation, arbitration, and matters relating to employment, labor laws, and benefits. Notably, Sir is also empanelled as an arbitrator at the Delhi International Arbitration Centre and IAS. He is recognized for his expertise in handling complex civil and commercial disputes and has a strong track record of arguing and representing clients before courts and arbitral tribunals in high-stake matters, such as railways, construction, infrastructure, and power. In today's episode, Mr. Panda will be sharing insights from his career, discussing some of his important cases, and offering advice for young lawyers. So stay tuned till the end of this episode as we will be exploring the intricacies of law through the lens of a seasoned professional. So welcome and thank you so much for taking out time from your extremely busy schedule. And so before we deep dive into your professional career, could you give us a glimpse of your personal journey?
Thank you, Surbhi, for the question. Insofar as my career is concerned, as you would see that I have spent all my life with this firm, and I started my career as an intern, started with the firm's Calcutta office, worked for about 7 years before deciding to relocate to the Delhi office, and all along I have been a dispute practitioner and with a special emphasis on commercial litigation, arbitration and employment. So insofar as law school journey is concerned, it was never a choice. Law was never a choice for me. I was always aspiring to become an automobile engineer. And since I was not very good with physics and mathematics in the 10th plus 2, I decided to pursue the NDA. But unfortunately, I could not get through for whatever reason. And as luck would have it, I accidentally landed up in the first batch of Hidayatullah National Law University. And since then, I have loved the profession, I have loved the journey. And it's indeed very challenging, but at the same time, deeply gratifying as well.
That's great, sir. So it was the destiny which brought you to this law career, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so but you all have also been part of some coveted lists like Asia Super 50 Lawyers, India Rising Star released by Asian Legal Business, and with more than 16 years of experience and as a partner at the top tier law firm, what are some key lessons you have learned and as a throughout your career that have contributed to your success as a legal professional?
So it's always said by leading professionals that there are no shortcuts to hard work, and I would also strongly resonate my views with that of those leading professionals and strongly believe in that as well. And as late Fali Nariman said, that this is not a profession for the faint-hearted or the chicken-hearted. So therefore, if you have that perseverance, if you have that hunger in the belly, then you need not follow success as long as you are striving for excellence. So what my focus has been is to strive for excellence and be a trusted advisor for my clients. And reputation precedes your physical presence, and therefore reputation and character is something which is deeply encapsulated in this particular profession's requirement. And keeping that in mind, I have always tried to be honest to whenever I am advising a client, not give them false expectations, like it's always better to under commit and over deliver. At the same time, be realistic in what the legal framework entails so far as the client's expectations are concerned. So keeping that in mind, these recognitions are of course motivating and inspiring, and it feels good when your efforts are being recognized by the clients and the publishers, because most of these, wherever I have been recognized, most of these recognitions are based on matters that we have handled and based on client feedbacks. So therefore, that is very enlightening and very motivating. At the same time, one should not necessarily focus on these recognitions, because these will come as you go. In your journey, it will automatically come, but you should not be digressing from your focus just because of these recognitions.
Correct. So we all can learn these lessons from you. And moving on to the next question, can you describe what a normal day at the office looks like for you? And adding to this, how have your responsibilities evolved over the 16 years as you progress from being associates to a partner?
No, it's very, very relevant question in today's world, particularly when in a law firm setup, based on your designation and your seniority, your responsibility changes. Okay. And when you are an associate, the expectation is very different. When you are a partner, the firm's expectation is very different, and also from the client's perspective. Ultimately, we are in the service industry, so therefore client satisfaction is of utmost importance, and that precedes all other responsibilities. So while that factor remains constant throughout your journey in a law firm, but at the same time, when you are an associate, you are expected to be more into the execution role. Whereas if I may translate my role as a partner, it is more of client relationship development. And like, of course, you cannot be completely out of execution, but at the same time, the percentage, it varies when you are a partner. You are also responsible and accountable for your team, which is looking up to you. And mentorship is one of the key responsibilities as a partner. You are also the brand ambassador from the firm's perspective. So therefore, whenever you are representing before the client, before the court, before any forum or authority, it's the brand of the firm that you are carrying. So therefore, that entails a lot of responsibility. It's also your individual reputation which is at stake. I'm not saying for a moment that as an associate you do not have to do that, but of course the responsibility significantly increases when you are at a senior role. So that is something which I would like to highlight. But at the same time, ensuring and managing clients' expectation is something which is a very key as a key role as a partner. So that is something one must be mindful of.
Yes, so that's true. And so you have been a partner for a while, and everyone who enters into this profession, especially the law firm, they want to be a partner one day, right? So can you tell us the roadmap to becoming a partner in a top tier law firm?
So for me, how it has worked is that consistency has been the key. And one thing I strongly believe is that you have to be honest to yourself more than anybody else. So keeping that in mind, insofar as the initial 5 years are concerned of one's professional career, one has to be honest in terms of how much time that you are spending for upskilling yourself, because this initial grinding that one undergoes, that is going to shape up, or if I may use the example of you are building the foundation, and those are the founding years. So if you are looking up to a superstructure, you have to have a foundation which is very strong and which is sustainable in the longer run. So keeping that in mind, one has to be very mindful of the hard work that one has to put in the initial 5 years or so. And once you have done that, then like the execution comes naturally to you. And although it is said that it is a profession where you should not take things personally, but I personally believe that there has to be some element of personal involvement. Otherwise, that hunger to succeed, that does not come. So that is my personal belief. There may be divergence of views, but at the same time, I personally feel that one must be involved in what they are executing, and only then you will strive for excellence for the client, and then automatically success will follow.
That's true, sir. Execution is important. And also, while going through your profile, I have seen that you have been at Khaitan from the start of your career, right? So, could you talk a bit about the culture of this organization and any other factors that have contributed to this decision?
Certainly. So, in fact, I have actually never felt the need for going out of this particular firm. As you would know, the firm is 113-year-old and it carries a legacy in itself. And today we have about 1,200 lawyers and 250, close to 250 partners. So keeping all these things in mind, there is a legacy which it carries, and I have been honored and privileged to have been given this opportunity to be associated with this firm. And I was an intern in my third year of law school, and since then, walking in the streets of Calcutta, of Old Post Office Street, and our Calcutta office shares the boundary with that of the Calcutta High Court as well. So it was a journey from there. As an associate, I joined in the year 2008, and since then I have got all the possible opportunities. The firm has given me the opportunity to grow personally and also professionally. And I was entrusted with the responsibility of handling critical matters for important clients, and was given the luxury of representing the clients in all those critical matters. So, as I said, that it comes with a great sense of responsibility, but at the same time, the firm has also looked after me well. So, there is no reason that I have had to look outside of the firm. In terms of culture, we follow a culture, what we call it as BEST, and best culture, which is essentially what it stands for is belongingness, excellence, S stand for sympathy, and T for trustworthiness. So we are empowered and taught as to how to become a trusted advisor for the client, and therefore follow these principles, keeping that in the back of our mind, and proceed further accordingly.
Great, sir. I hope even the young lawyers who are entering into this profession can understand about this thing. Also, sir, now moving on to your area of expertise, as your expertise spans various sectors like railway, construction, infrastructure, and power. And I have personally worked on these areas as well. And I've realized that it's a very intense area where you have to deal with clients on various matters, and very difficult also. So could you highlight some unique challenges you have encountered while representing clients in these industries, and how you navigated them?
Yes, in fact, in terms of these sectors, these are indeed one of the most changing scenario in terms of the legal position. And since I focus on commercial litigation and arbitration as well, in addition to labor and employment, particularly from a commercial arbitration perspective, these sectors are very important and relevant, because most of the arbitrations that you see, the majority percentage of that are in these sectors: construction, infrastructure, railways, etc. And as we all know that the government is the biggest litigant. Today, in this present day, we do not see a commercial contract without an arbitration clause. So I was left with no option, if I may say, but to develop some form of expertise and experience in these sectors if I had to focus on arbitration. And thankfully, I have had the pleasure of working closely with the legal teams of leading companies in these sectors. And it's not only the legal team, but the interaction that you have with the technical and the business teams who are executing the projects at the ground level that you learn the most. Because unless you understand the business of the client, it becomes very difficult to represent them when it comes to a proceeding like an arbitration, which is very detailed oriented and which is very meticulous in terms of like the finer nitty-gritties and the nuances one has to understand to be able to effectively represent the clients before the arbitral tribunal or a court of law. So keeping that in mind, I feel that each of these sectors are unique in themselves. They are unique, and at the same time they provide a lot of opportunities. So therefore one must be mindful of and conscious of the fact that you have to understand the business of the client first, and then get into the contract, and then you apply the law later. That should be the last. If so, one of my seniors advised me that if you take care of the facts, then law will take its own course.
Yes.
So therefore, keeping that in mind, if you are comfortable and have understood the business of the client, then it becomes much easier to understand the niceties or the finer nuances of the particular contract in hand, and then you can interpret it better.
That's true. So, and also you have worked in labor and employment law, right? So what are some emerging trends or challenges in this area that you believe business should be aware of?
So labor and employment came naturally because I started my career from West Bengal, and fortunately or unfortunately, West Bengal is popular for a lot of trade union activities and a lot of industrial disputes. So keeping that in mind, I was exposed to, in addition to my commercial litigation and arbitration profile, I was exposed to a lot of employment disputes in West Bengal during my tenure in the Calcutta office of the firm. And during my tenure, I had the opportunity to give a lot of pre-litigation advisory to our clients, followed by litigation handling at the industrial tribunal, labor courts, as also at the high court level in labor and service matters. So I carried that forward. And of course, if you ask a young law student, labor and employment is one of the subjects which is very dry. Correct. In law school. But when it comes to the profession, it is important for each and every one of us and not necessarily to human resource personnel. Why I say so? Because ultimately you will have to review an employment contract even for yourself or a friend of yours, or for that matter, whether in practice when you are representing clients. So at least one should have the basic understanding of what are the boilerplate clauses or what are the relevant clauses from an employment contract perspective. So keeping that in mind, the labor and employment practice particularly has evolved with time, and today it is one of the most interesting areas where you see young students who are passing out from law school are ready and willing to give up on LLM programs to specialize in this particular field. There are instances in our own firm itself, in our own employment, labor and benefits practice, and that's very encouraging. And with some dispute background from the labor and employment field, I was also inducted as part of our employment desk. And we have been handling quite a number of interesting matters, both from an advisory as also from a litigation perspective. Now, coming to the current trends, I would say that the labor courts, of course, we have seen how it has been discussed at length in the last 2 to 3 years. And post the elections, I am sure that the government, whichever it is, will look into this aspect and will implement these laws once the state rules are also ready. And those are going to be the game changer insofar as labor and employment practice is concerned. Although we also say that it is more of a consolidation of law and simplifying the laws and compliances from the employer's perspective. But at the same time, it is also important that we evolve with changing times. Concepts like fixed term employment, gig workers, platform workers have been recognized for the first time under the labor courts. There is limitation period for provident fund which does not exist under the extant laws. I personally feel that the Provident Fund Act is a draconian act, if I may say, particularly from an employer's perspective, because it does not have a limitation period at the first place. So the Provident Fund authorities can go after employers even after 5 years, 7 years, which becomes very difficult because you do not maintain records for that long, because the Income Tax Act, the Companies Act provides for a time limit for maintaining records. So when proceedings or inquiry proceedings are initiated and liability fastened for a period beyond that period of 5 years or 7 years, it becomes very difficult to effectively represent your case. So that is another aspect. Enforceability of restrictive covenants is another trending area, and in the last 2 years we have seen a lot of work, both advisory and litigation on that front. Of course, non-compete is not enforceable strictly, but it is in fact implemented when it is coupled with non-solicitation and confidentiality obligations of ex-employees. The POSH Act again is another interesting area. We do see a lot of advisory and related litigation work coming on the under the POSH Act. So these are some of the current trends, if I may say, which we are actively practicing as part of our employment law profile of the firm.
Yes, so thank you so much for giving such a detailed answer. I hope even the state laws can also implement such a laws, because it's pending on the state side, right? So, sir, moving further, how is your role as an arbitrator different from that as a partner at Khaitan? And also, how do you ensure an arbitration process that is fair for both the parties?
So the role of an arbitrator is very different when you, as compared to the role of a counsel. When you are representing a party, you are aware of what exactly you have to say before the tribunal, what exactly you have to plead, and what is your legal and factual stand. But when it comes to the role of an arbitrator, I always thought that their role is much easier, role of a judge is much easier. But after being empanelled as an arbitrator with DIAC and with IIAC, I feel that the responsibility is much more. You are basically substituting the role of a judge. So as it is often said that with great power comes great responsibility. So of course it gives you a lot of power to adjudicate on disputes, commercial disputes between two parties, but at the same time it comes with a lot of responsibility. I'm not saying for a moment that as a counsel you do not have that responsibility, but the responsibility of counterbalancing equities on the part of both the sides, that is even stronger, and it is even more difficult, I would say. At the same time, for becoming a good arbitrator, I personally feel that there are certain attributes which are a must, which are basically integrity, independence and impartiality. And why I say so is because it is the parties as also the litigants. They are reposing their trust and faith in you for adjudicating their disputes, which may have significant repercussions, considering that these are deciding their rights and duties. So keeping that in mind, it's a lot more difficult as compared to representing one side of the case. And it is important for you to be neutral and not get swayed away by your own individual prejudices. So with an open mind, you should hear parties, read the pleadings with an open mind and what are the arguments advanced by both the parties, and then possibly one would be able to decide the matter much better and in a neutral manner.
True, sir. I'm sure that being as an arbitrator at DIAC and IAC comes with a lot of responsibilities and challenges also. So, could you share some challenges you face as an arbitrator, and also could you discuss some current trends in arbitration?
So it's too early for me to comment because I have just been appointed as an arbitrator in a very few matters. So it would maybe too early to comment on challenges, but it's indeed a great honor and privilege to be an arbitrator. So it is very different from that of a counsel, as I said earlier. So insofar as challenges are concerned, I would not say it as a challenge, but what I would strongly believe and I would strongly recommend is that we should go beyond the obsolete idea of only retired judges from the Supreme Court or the High Court or from the judiciary being appointed as arbitrators. Rather, the young lawyers who are interested in arbitration or have some specialization in arbitration or ADR fields, they must be considered for appointments, because by that way we are not only empowering them and encouraging them, at the same time we are taking a very positive step in overcoming the prejudices that we have of only a retired judge will be able to adjudicate disputes. We need not be confining ourselves to that zone. And that would also help in getting dates much easily, and which will flow along with the overall objective of expeditious disposal of proceedings, because a young lawyer may be much more available as compared to a retired judge who will be arbitrating on, say, 20 or 30 matters at a given point in time. So it will be difficult for them to allocate time and fix up convenient dates, whereas for a young lawyer it will be comparatively much easier.
So we all know that law can be a very demanding profession, especially when you're working with a law firm, you have to work 24/7. So with this, how do you maintain your work-life balance? Are there any hobbies you are fond of?
So as I said, irrespective of whether you are working in a law firm or generally the legal profession is very demanding, and therefore As I said, it is not for the faint-hearted or the chicken-hearted. So therefore, one has to be very much prepared as regards like whether or not the person is ready and willing to invest that much of time and energy. So you should not be oblivious to the fact that it commands a lot of hard work, and it is very demanding, as I said. So one must be prepared what they are signing up for when they are entering into the profession, and should not be surprised when it comes with expectations from client, when it comes with expectation of the work itself. So keeping that in mind, one has to be prepared for those eventualities. At the same time, as long as you are enjoying what you are doing, then you would not possibly you would not possibly count the number of hours that you are spending in executing the work. You will actually enjoy the time that you are spending. Of course, one has to be mindful of fatigue and burnout, but at the same time, as long as you are enjoying what you are doing, it comes naturally, and it is comparatively much easier to deal with the situation. Insofar as my personal excuses to get to focus on work again, I believe in pursuing some of the hobbies which I am very fond of. One is, of course, watching and playing cricket, and secondly, driving and traveling to new places. So I love driving, so any opportunity that I get for an outstation matter, as long as it is in drivable distance, I prefer driving rather than taking a flight or a train. So that is another way which I feel that is the me time that I spend. Even the time that I spend in driving to the office, which is a good 1 hour drive from my home. So that is the me time which I spend with myself. It's like meditation for me, and it is very therapeutic, if I may say. So these are things to each his or her own. So therefore, one has to find the excuse or way forward in terms of whatever you want to enjoy when you are having some time out of work. So I also love traveling to new places and exploring new areas. So that is something which I do when I am not working.
Great, sir. You have mentioned it so nicely. Also, moving further, can you share a memorable case or any achievement from your career that you are particularly proud of, and how it has shaped your approach to practicing law?
So I will go before I started my career. There was one instance during my 5 year of law school, that was interning at a law firm in Australia. That was the first foreign internship that I did, and that changed me completely from a person who was an introvert to get the right exposure of having the experience of working in a foreign law firm setup. So that changed my thought process completely, and I matured overnight, if I may say. And that was a life-changing experience so far as my career and also time at law school is concerned. So that is the first instance. In terms of the profession, of course, each and every case or any advisory or litigation that you do is equally challenging and equally providing you with opportunities to learn, and also each of them are significant in their own respective ways. So it will be very difficult to pick and choose one. But considering arbitration practice, I would say that 2015 has been the game changer because of the amendments that it brought in, and with reduced judicial intervention, with timelines introduced for concluding arbitration proceedings, the 5th and the 7th schedule talking about independence, impartiality, and the 4th schedule talking about the fee schedule for arbitrators, which brought a lot more discipline to the arbitration practice as a whole. I was privileged to advise a client and represent them before the Supreme Court, which is one of the first judgments under the 2015 amendment, where we had the opportunity of interpreting section 12 read with the 5th and the 7th schedule dealing with independence and impartiality of arbitrators. So we had challenged the panel-based arbitration of a public sector undertaking, and in that we partially succeeded in getting a broad-based panel for our client. So that, I would say, was a life-changing moment insofar as arbitration practice is concerned in general, and also from a personal satisfaction perspective. and we went on to win both the arbitration proceeding against the same PSU, where I had the opportunity to appear and argue on my own. So I would say that this is one of the most important matters which I have handled.
That's a great learning. And so also recently you visited the Lavasna and you have trained the IAS and IPS officer. So how was your experience there? What have you learned? And also in a platform of bettering result, you have teaching the participants also. Can you share your experience?
No, in fact, it has indeed been very satisfying and personally very motivating that I'm getting an opportunity with the help of bettering results to give back to the society. We all talk about the profession being noble, but in the rigmarole of like the profession, it becomes very difficult to give back to the society. So whatever form and manner or any opportunity that one gets, one must give back to the society in whatever form. So bettering results has indeed given me a great platform thanks to the COVID, and that's the only silver lining I would say, that we have adopted and adapted technology to its best use. And I had the opportunity of being introduced to a lot of webinars that Bettering Results has been organizing, and they considered me for, based on my experience and expertise, I was invited to speak and take classes on and sessions on various courses, like particularly in arbitration and employment practice. And it has been a great learning for me personally as well, because when you are speaking to young professionals, students who are very much interested in the field and they have the fair bit of understanding about the subject, you have to be on your toes. For taking a session of 2 years, you have to devote at least 6 to 8 hours to prepare. So that helps me keep myself abreast with the changing laws, read up judgments, which normally I may not do unless and until it is involving a particular matter in hand. So I thank Bettering Results from the bottom of my heart for giving me that opportunity. It's indeed a great honor and privilege. And in furtherance of that, my association with Bettering Results, I was also invited to attend the workshop which was being organized for senior civil servants, and where I had the opportunity to speak and address the senior civil servants. And it was indeed very gratifying personally. And possibly I was one of the youngest speakers in the taking sessions. And some of the civil servants walked up to me during the lunch break and said so, that you don't look like you have about 15, 16 years of experience. So that was very encouraging when you hear such comments, and when they comment about your session with, and they rate your session and find it very insightful and helpful when you share your own experiences. So that is something which was very motivating personally and professionally for me.
So, sir, after so many years at a top professional, what motivates you keep going? What sort of legacy would you like to leave behind, and how do you plan to continue making an impact in the years to come?
So legacy, I would say that it's too early for me, 16 years, considering the profession. It's too early to talk about legacy, but at the same time, I would definitely like to inspire anyone and everyone who comes my way or who interacts with me. So that is something which I am very mindful of, and I try to help to the extent that is practically possible within my power, that I would try to assist any personnel, any young student or any professional in whatever way I can contribute, either by sharing knowledge or discussing interesting areas of law. I would be more than happy, because we often say that when you are a lawyer, you are a student for life. So I would like to continue to be a student of life and learn from whosoever I am interacting at any given point in time.
Great, sir. So in our profession, networking is very important. So according to you, how important is networking in our industry? Can you discuss your approach to networking?
It's extremely important, and one of the most important skill if you are a lawyer, whether in a law firm setup or individual practitioner or an in-house legal counsel, irrespective of the field that you have chosen, as a lawyer or for that matter any profession, it's extremely important. I would say it's a life skill, if I may say. We were never taught in law school that networking is important, but these days I see that law schools are coming up really well when it comes to training young students, the importance of networking right at the very initial stages. Moreover, with technology, it has become also very easy to network with professionals, network with subject matter experts whom you want to follow or whom you are aspiring to become like. So that is very important, and that is very easy today with the era of LinkedIn and social media. You can just log into any website and you can have access to the lectures by senior advocates, professionals, experts, etc. So whenever you are approaching networking, you should not have a very focused approach when it comes to getting an internship opportunity or getting a job opportunity. On the contrary, one should network just for the sake of it, for building relationships which you never know when it will help you in your entire career, or like for whatever, whether it can be a career prospect or for assisting them as a client, or for that matter, like getting an internship, getting a job, etc. So it need not be limited to that, but just touching base with people in the profession, it always helps. And you never know in what manner and at what stage of your career the person can be of help. So one should not approach with a closed mindset, rather attend events which are in relation to subjects which you are interested in. For example, if somebody is interested in an arbitration or ADR field, then you must attend events or conferences, seminars or webinars which are surrounding that area, because not only you are learning, you are also getting to hear the perspective and different perspectives of different individuals. So you can touch base, keep in touch with those individuals, and you can always reach out to them for help, and if they are ready and willing to, and if it is within their scope, it will obviously do wonders. But as I said at the beginning, one should not proceed only with a closed mindset, but network just for the sake of it, for building a rapport.
Correct, sir. So you have rightly mentioned that in our law colleges, they have not taught us how we are supposed to do the networking. But due to the social media technology, everyone started making the connections through the LinkedIn profile or by sending a cold email also. Right. Okay, sir. So finally, what advice would you like to give to young lawyers and any students wishing to pursue a law as a career?
So I have said this earlier as well, that there are no shortcuts to hard work, and as I said, that if you are genuinely interested in the field of law, then it provides a lot of opportunities in terms of career prospects, and it need not be a straitjacket approach in terms of pursuing only law as a profession, or practicing law in a court of law as a litigator, or as an in-house counsel, or as a law firm professional. But it provides you a variety of opportunities. The reason why I say so is because it is very dynamic, and it gives you exposure and makes you a jack of all trades when you are passing out of a law school. So your appreciation of different fields is much better as compared to any other profession. So keeping that in mind, you must strive for excellence in whatever you do, and you should focus on brand building, networking. These are some of the key skills that you must develop, and one should not focus on success, rather strive for excellence. So success will follow on its own. So that is a message which I would like to give, and of course, do the best of whatever you are doing, and don't have the perseverance, because the law field is very demanding, and you may not see shortcut success, or in a short time you may not get to know that you are seeing tangible results. But it's like a test match where you have to play it innings. Every innings is very important. So therefore you should have that patience, and you should be thick-skinned. That is one more point which I would like to highlight, that you should be thick-skinned and should not get disappointed easily. So that's all that I have to say about the profession.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this invaluable knowledge and experience with us. It was a great conversation with you. I hope the insights which you have shared would be beneficial for our viewers and it will help them in shaping their career.
Thank you so much for having me. It was indeed a great honor and privilege. Thank you so much.